Right, this is the bass running rig I used to cast off the beach. Just go through the apparatus. Obviously fixed pull reel, 15-pound main line, we've got 50-pound shock leader, we've got a breakaway lead, we've got a heavy duty swivel, we've got a Mustad, you call it sliding boom or just a lead attachment, a bead. Obviously we've got trace material there, amnesia, about £20 good enough for that. I've got some cotton there as well for the peeler crab. What else have we got? A pair of pliers just to tighten the knots up and to snip them off. And we've got an assortment of hooks. Now if you're fishing a peeler crab you want sort of a fairly stiff wire to sort of go through the crab, as light as you can really, but if you're fishing worm baits go for this sort of lighter stuff. There for example that's a 2.0 Mustad, and there's some heavy, these other three there, they're a lot more, as you can see, they're a lot more robust. If you've gone with a crab or like a hard bag or something like that, you can use them, but you know, if it's a peeler crab it's quite soft, you know, a lot of the shell's gone, you can probably get away with a fine wire. That's a fine wire 4-ohm, we'll use that for the video. And then obviously the main line, 15-pound day with tournament, that's pretty good stuff. And that's just a different sort of lead, you know, depending on what the tide is doing, you might want to upgrade. So that's the apparatus. I'll just quickly tie one on for you. Right, so we'll just tie one on. Right, what we want to do is we want to grab the obviously the reel's on the rod. The shock leader's gone through the rings, and the first thing you do is grab the shock leader and find the end of the shock leader. And what you do, because this is a bass running rig, and the idea of a running rig is so when he picks up the peeler crab, he doesn't feel any main sort of bolt action from the actual lead, as if you were on a fixed paternoster. Sometimes it doesn't matter. You know, they'll still hook themselves, but they do say that a running rig just allows the fish to pick it up and to move off with it without actually feeling anything for maybe, I don't know, a foot or foot and a half, something like that. I personally don't think it makes that much difference. However, you know, caution to the wind, if bass are being a little bit sort of picky and I'm going to drop the bait, this, that and the other, which I don't think really exists, but we just fish with the running rig anyway. Now with this kind of rig you are reduced to your casting capacity a little bit, but for bass it doesn't matter, you're only looking for 30-60 yards at the most, and with this kind of gear you get that easy. But when you're fishing a peeler crab it's quite a delicate bait and you don't want to whack it too hard anyway. So what you want to do, you want to do a little sort of overhead lob with it, get 30-40 yards. So anyway, cut long story short, this Ziploc Mustad sliding boom thing goes on through the shock leader, 50-pound shock leader, like that. Okay, now for correct protocol we put a bead on, alright, but the knot is going to be, and it's quite a stiff line, it's not, you know, it's not going to cause any damage anyway. You know, you'll probably find you're going to be fishing for a few hours anyway. So the big heavy duty swivel goes on, roll and swivel, big robust swivel, and you just literally just do a good knot as per that diagram, and you just let it, you can tidy it up a little bit, you can pull it tight, and you can just tidy it up a little bit, leave a little bit on there. So there you go, so you got, so it looks like so. I'll do a close up in a little while. So it looks like so. Okay. So basically, now all we're doing, we tie a trace, £20, black amnesia. You want about 2 feet maybe, foot and a half. Doesn't really matter. I don't think personally. So you just tie that onto the swivel. All right. Now bass up to 7 3/4 on this rig. and the day previous to that I had about 6 3/4. So it works. I just looked around, the rod tip was just going boom, 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 banging away. I didn't even see the bite. That's a few years ago, it's 10 years ago now. Right. So all you do, so that's your trace. Doesn't matter if it's black, especially if you've got mucky water. I'll put the crab hook on. Crab hook, trying to do it as quick as possible so I don't bore you to death. I can't put it in fast forward because then you just hear me high pitched voice. So, like you say, if there's a bit of a stiff breeze in your face, just put a slightly heavier lead on. But you need at least 30 yards. And all you do, just snip it off a bit. Always test your knots, make sure you're not done something silly. Right, and that's that. That's the rig. And all you do, you clip the lead on, like so. The wires are in position, so it'll hold. Okay, and that is the rig. That is the rig. And when you cast it out, so you bait your peeler crab up with that, you put your cotton on the peeler crab. Right, so nice big bait, make sure that hook point is exposed. You can put another hook on up here. All you do, you just slide this up, wrap it round here about 4 times, like so. So your bait will look something like that. So you put your peeler crab, so it's got 2, so if for some reason your hook point gets covered, you've got another hook exposed. Do you know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised what shit can happen. Sometimes the hook can pull in accidentally and this and so. I would strongly recommend, if you're fishing peeler crab, to fish 2 hooks. One like 4-0 and like a 2-0. Fine wire would be okay. And all you do to cast it out, you just clip it on the wire, like so, and it acts when it hits the water. This will just fall off, and just cast it out like that. So all the shock of the cast is going on this heavy-duty swivel, and this 50-pound shock leader, and there's just 20 pound here, and that's the rig. So it's a running peeler crab rig, casting from the beach. And there you go. That's all it is. I'll just grab the camera and just do a close-up so you can see it better. Right, what we got then? Let's just get out of the way of the light. So there you go. You can see the running rig there. I'll try and just sort of unravel it a bit so you can sort of see it a little bit. That's what we got. There we go. So you can see the shock leader, and you can see that this can. So when the fish takes, that'll just stay where it is. When the fish takes, you can see he can pull it without any resistance. You see, when the fish takes here, so where's the hook? So so the fish grabs the bait, he runs off with it, right, and he can move off without feeling that lead, you see, on the bottom. Okay, so all you will see on your rod tip, you should see some like, with my finger, if my finger's the rod tip, when he does that, you should see this sort of thing. Quite pronounced little sort of knocks. A lot of anglers, you read a lot of anglers' reports on the internet, a lot of anglers miss the bite and they just get lucky because they're fishing like 2 hooks and stuff like that. You hear about the hook getting the fish just hooked on the outside of the mouth. The amount of anglers which miss that bite is unbelievable. But when you get that, where's my finger? When you get this, when he takes it and you're getting this, they'll be like this sort of speed, like that. You want to wind, you'll grab the rod, wind into it and strike firmly but not crazily. And you need to lift into it, and maybe just a little gentle strike after that. So you go strike, strike, like this sort of thing. But the important bit is that you see it and you recognise that it is a fish taking it, and you don't just want to leave it. Sometimes, you know, I have missed it, and you turn around and the rod tip is completely arched over, and it's just kicking where the fish is trying to move off. He's hooked and he's just moving off. Sometimes it can go the other way where it sort of goes slack line, but that's more on paternoster rigs, on a fixed sort of bolt ledger sort of rig. Right. Right guys, well I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. And like I say, that is the bass running rig. Sweet simple, and you know, it's a definitely works. It definitely works, and it's not too dissimilar from the uptide rig which you'd use off a boat. Very similar indeed. Is that instead of using the small little ziplock like that, you can use a longer boom. Okay, and I'll do that video as well. You can actually use that off the beach as well. No problems at all. It's exactly the same rig, the same principle. And there you go. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. See you again soon.